Hey guys, Lee Constantino here, the Body Consultant. Today I'm joined with Dinesh, who has just completed the program, got an incredible result. And so we're going to dive in, ask him some questions about the program and his experience and like what he's achieved in this time we've been working together. So tell me what life was like before we met, like before we connected, how you were feeling in yourself, where your body was at and all that.
So I've had a lot of volatility, shall I say, with my weight. I got married about 3 years ago. And at that point, I was fairly comfortable with my physique and how I looked. I used to do CrossFit back then. Now everyone's going to start throwing the tomatoes at the screen. So I was doing CrossFit back then. I got married. I think I sort of let myself go a bit after marriage in terms of was just happy and got comfortable eating everything and anything. We're still training, but you can't out-train a bad diet. I'd faced a couple of injuries with CrossFit, and I wasn't really finding the momentum and inspiration and drive to really make changes in my nutrition. Or if I would, they would, I think I was sort of setting up myself up for failure. I would just eat a salad for lunch with some, tin of tuna and that fine. You can do that for a few days. And sometimes in the past when I have lost weight before, I've done it consistently, but ultimately you have to be a real hermit to be able to achieve that and to see that out. So
Dinesh, tell me, man, how did we connect?
Been following your content for a while on Instagram, for quite a few years now. I think first you sort of reached out to saying, hey, what's up? Very casual thing. And we had a few exchange of messages from there. And then I think you forgot to respond back to my last line or something like that. And then I think when you did respond back, maybe 2 months later or something like that, I was actually they say the right people come into your life at the right time.
Because you tried all these different things, you've been doing CrossFit, you tried it yourself in the past. Were you hesitant with reaching out and getting help and coming into the program? Were you a bit unsure if it's the right thing to do?
I followed you on Instagram and stuff. I knew this was a guy who was sort of supplying real content. There was a sort of ethos behind it as well. It wasn't just some guy selling out a program. I knew there's credibility in your content and with what you were saying and what you were preaching. So I sort of had an instant trust because of that.
So tell us, man, what are some of the solutions that we came up with, Dinesh? What do we do to get you out of this yo-yo dieting lifestyle and get you to the place where you are now to do this yourself? What do we do?
You handed me the Client Success Pack, which comprised of quite a few things. One of them was obviously my nutritional plan and sort of macro targets from day one. I think I understood it quite fast. And again, I've not been a stranger to nutrition and gym before, so I've used MyFitnessPal as well in the past. So I was I got in quite fast at being able to substitute my meats, substitute my proteins, understand things quite effectively and sort of get into a flexible dieting regime, maybe quicker than other people may have done in the program. So that was one thing. Then we obviously had different types of score sheets. So that was one is kind of more focusing and dialing in on a mindset. And then the other one's obviously more about the physical and the body. So that's, with how the training, my body weight, putting that in every day, and just sort of having all the trackers and measuring all of those, whether it's your the mindset element of it or the body side element of it on a regular basis, just to kind of track our progress. So it kind of kept me accountable because, every day you're logging in, this many carbs, fat, protein, this many calories consumed. This is your, looking at our weight, taking our weight. I think weight's a funny one because in the past, I'd go on these diets and you're like, oh, I put on half a kilo from yesterday, but I've dieted. And then it sort of ruins your whole mindset around it. But I think by looking at it from a sort of week on week average weight per week and looking at it, as long as we were sort of seeing progress week on week, we're heading in the right direction. So sometimes even when you think you're not progressing, you actually are. when you look at your sort of, and it's the same sort of way, you know, how, I mean, even, you know, you kind of said it to me, but I guess I never realized this, how you look into sales in my business, you know. I work in retail today. It's like me saying, yeah, my weekend sales are high and my weekday sales are low, but I look at it on an average week on week, and sort of analyze it from that perspective, you know. So the same sort of thing you end up having to do with your weight as well. And obviously the training planners, where we had four different cycles of training, and all the sort of YouTube videos to help me sort of perfect the techniques and stuff around it. So no, everything was kind of given in a solid way to get you going, you know.
Cool. Easy to follow as well? Fairly easy to understand and follow for you?
I think the macro bits I found really easy. I know some people find it tough. I guess that's just a person-to-person thing. I think obviously having a foundation of working out over the years definitely did help when we got into the training bit, because I mean, a lot of the exercise I'd already been doing or I've done in the past, or where you kind of have a sort of fundamental of posture and technique. It is something that you can end up translating to other exercises. But I think the YouTube videos which you'd given were also quite helpful for some of the exercises which I hadn't done before.
Cool, man. Cool. So let's talk about some of the results, bro. Like, what did you achieve, Dinesh? That's what everybody wants to know, right? Like, what did you achieve on this program? What did you do to your body? And where are you right now?
So when I started off, I was 96 kilograms. And I finished my last day on the program low 85.8 kilograms. So say about 10 kilograms weight loss, 22 pounds. Not bad.
10 kilograms, bro. Do you mean it's not bad?
Not bad.
That's a British response. Yeah, not bad. Bro, that's insane. 10 kilograms is a ton of weight. Tell me, like, do you feel like you can now keep this weight off forever?
I think firstly, I have a lot more understanding about food and different types of food. I think my mind was a little bit clouded in the past, why, you know, suddenly, especially I would say the new age, you know, chia seeds, quinoa, all of that, you're just like, oh yeah, I can have coconut oil, you know, I can have a ton of quinoa, but ultimate superfoods, all this, but ultimately it's all calories, you know. You know, you kind of, I think before I was kind of like biased against certain food groups because you've been told, yeah, they're bad for you, you know. Even though fine, I love a bit of a dessert or chocolate, but I'd often see that as like, you know, I was almost cheating, you know. I mean, I don't see any meal now as a cheat meal. You know, I've had days and periods where I've lost weight day on day when I've had gummy bears or I've had like a pecan tart. But no, I mean, ultimately that's just calories you put in your body. So I think I've been able to, by knowing that, by understanding that, I mean, I've come to a point now where I don't even feel I need to necessarily refer to MyFitnessPal or to the scale to weigh my food. It becomes so instinctual. Not even on a daily basis, but even when you look at your overall week, if I know, yeah, I've maybe had eaten more 1 or 2 days ago, and if I want to sort of, you know, hit my targets, I need to sort of maybe cut back my carb and fat intake. And I kind of know, should I say, the tricks of doing that, you know.
You even had a few social occasions during the program, didn't you? You went out for some weddings and stuff. So tell me, like, were you able to lose this 10 kilos, this 22 pounds, and still eat the things that you want to eat?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, look, you have to dial it in. I mean, it's not like never before was I a massive drinker, you know, but I would have dessert or chocolate most days. But I still continue to do so. I was just doing it in a lot more restrained manner. And I think I'm glad, I mean, to be honest, you know, we had a talk a little while back about sacrifice and what you put in the group. And I wouldn't really see any, you know, fine, if I'm eating less chocolate now or less dessert now, I wouldn't necessarily see that as a sacrifice. I think I've been able to show restraint on myself. And by doing so, you kind of really, I would say, upping your own self-discipline, right? Which is then an important lesson which you can use in all aspects of your life. If you can show restraint with your food, if you can show some self-discipline when it comes to your eating, you can end up, like taking that lesson and that skill and using it in other areas of your life.
Great answer. So like outside of nutrition, training, like the weight loss, what other breakthrough would you say you've experienced in the program? I know we spoke about it the other day, but like, can you just share like what other breakthroughs you've had in your life personally, going through this time we've been working together?
I think my relationships with my family and the people around me have improved. I think once again, when you kind of have more of a positive feel over yourself, once you start looking better, once you start feeling better, it's that sort of feeling ends up being infectious, right? It spreads to everyone around you. It spreads to the other things that you're doing in life. And as I said, my relationships with my family, with my parents, my wife. I think even with my work, being the sort of environment which I work in, there's sort of a lot of people in the office and stuff like that. It's a very interactive space. So once if you're feeling more confident, you can achieve more.
Tell me this, like for anybody who's like watching this, been thinking of getting in touch or just being inspired by your journey, can you just share a few words to maybe encourage them to reach out to get the help that they might need?
If you're feeling lost, if you feel like you're not happy with your body and how you look and your self-confidence, then don't even think twice, of at least reaching out to you and finding out more. Because I think, a lot of us kind of live and just sort of brush things under the rug a bit, and especially when it comes to our own feelings. You're the most important person in your life. And I think neglecting ourselves is something that a lot of us in today's society and world are guilty of. If you can't put yourself first, if you can't be the best version of you, you can't be the best version of, you can't be the best person in your workplace. You can't end up being the best person in your family. You can't end up being the best parent. You can't end up being the best husband. You have to really put yourself first and be the best version of you.
Thanks for sharing those few words. And for anybody who's watching this feeling inspired, there's a link somewhere in and around this video. You can click it and you can schedule a time to talk with Dinesh. Man, I appreciate you sharing your journey and experience in the program.